Welcome to the Ultimate 180, the podcast for hardworking people like you who are ready to break free from exhaustion and create a life that actually feels good. If you're tired of spinning your wheels and want a simpler, gentler way to change your life without all the stress, fear, and guilt, without adding more to your already overwhelming schedule, and without giving up everything you've already built, then you're in the right place. I'm your host, Christina Walker. And today I want to talk about those moments when everything falls apart. You know, those times when nothing seems to be going to plan and life just kind of feels like it's kicking us when we're down. And it's hard, it's messy, but it's real. And what if I told you that some of your best stories in your life, the ones that you will tell years from now with a smile, are being written in the middle of your hardest chapters? Today, I want to help you reframe the story when it comes to struggle. Because what if? What if it's not all bad? What if there is power, perspective, and even purpose hidden inside the chaos? This episode is for anyone going through it right now, for anyone who's wondering if they'll ever make it to the other side. You will, and it might just become one of the most transformational times of your life. So let's talk about how to hold on to hope while you're actually right in the middle of that storm. And it may even help you get through this phase just a little bit easier. So before we dive in, I just have a quick favor to ask. If this episode sparks anything inside you, a little hope, inspiration, or even just a nudge to think differently, just take a split second to hit that follow button. Why? Because every time you do, you're not just making sure that you never miss an episode, you're also helping someone else who needs this message to find it too. And if something really hits home today, don't keep it to yourself. Screenshot this episode, share it on social, and tag me with your biggest takeaway. I absolutely love seeing your insights. And who knows, you might just be my next featured Ultimate 180 story. Oh, and if you're ready to dive deeper, go down and grab my Stop Working So Hard workbook. It is my free gift to you to help take whatever we're learning here and to start making real moves in your own life. And be sure to join my VIP community where we take these conversations to the next level because you don't have to do this alone. I've got you. All the links are down in the show description. So let's get started as we navigate change together, one degree at a time. Let's do this. Do you ever notice when bad things happen, it kind of never shows up alone? Like it comes in waves, threes, sometimes more, who knows? And suddenly it feels like life just put you in a holding pattern of hard. And I get it because I've honestly just come out of one of those, and it is not a fun season. And just the other day, I was swapping stories with my teen about who's about to head off to college soon. And I found myself telling him about like some of the wild stuff I've been through over the years. Not super wild, but just crazy things that happen. And you know what? We ended up laughing for like a solid hour. That really good, like deep, heavy stomach hurts kind of laugh. And I even got up, Mom, you always have the best stories. And that's when it hit me because some of the best stories of my life came from the absolute worst seasons of my life, not the easy ones, not when everything was going right. It was actually when everything was messy, unpredictable, kind of those what now moments. And somehow out of those really hard times came these powerful, sometimes even hilarious stories that shaped who I am today. And the funny part, when you're in it, when you're really going through it, you do not have that perspective at all. And the feeling of the weight of it is all you feel. But what if you could shift that perspective even a little bit when you're in the middle of the mess? And what if it could be the thing that helps you move through it with more clarity, peace, and maybe even a little bit of hope? So let's talk about that. Because what is the future you? What if that future you would actually thank you years from now for getting through this horrible time and persevering and ending up somewhere great? because it could be a time where you feel like it's going to break you. But what if you can imagine that your future self is actually has this great story to tell? And maybe there's some wisdom that your future self will even be sharing with other people because of this hard time in this moment that seems so difficult. And you've heard the saying like this is going to make a great story someday, right? In fact, I say that all the time when I'm going through bad stuff because it reminds me of the fact that it really probably is going to make a great story someday. I even say, like, even little things when, all hell breaks loose at the airport and you're sitting there and it's midnight and there's a bunch of kids hanging around and they're starving and all these times where you're like, oh my God, like I want to get on the plane and I want to be in my own bed. But then years from now, like we have some of the best stories from that actual event. And it has to do with the gray hamburger. And someday I'll share that with you. But, anyways, it's something that we laugh about. And at the time, it sure didn't feel funny. But sometimes what we need to do is we need to reframe our struggle as kind of what if this is a future testimony of your resilience? Okay, I am going to tell you the hamburger story because it's so relevant. It's so dumb because we were in the Denver airport and we were trying to get home and we had friends there. And so there were three kids and we get there. And for some reason, there is in this one, I don't know what you call it. I can't think right now, wing of the airport, terminal. There is like one restaurant, and that is it. And everything is late. It was hard to get through security. It was hard. Everything was hard that day getting there once we actually got to the airport. And it's already kind of late for us to leave, and we've been trying to figure out what to do with the day. And now our kids just want to get home. It has been an awesome long weekend, but everybody is exhausted and wants to be home. And then little by little, our flight just keeps getting postponed, postponed, postponed. And our kids are like starving. And so the only thing available is this Mexican restaurant. And it's not a great Mexican restaurant. And coming from where I am living, we have great Mexican restaurants. So we weren't all that thrilled to go there, but I don't know, we're starving. So my kid orders a hamburger because that's what you want to get when you're at a Mexican restaurant. Anyways, and it takes for freaking ever. Like it takes like an hour to get our food. Is it all that busy in there? No, I do not know what's happening. But everybody's getting more and more frustrated, and these kids are getting more and more unruly because they are starving. I'm thinking, oh my God, like just give me this food. I want to go home. And here comes this disgusting looking burger. I mean, it's not like bad for you. It just it is this gray meat product that shows up. And my kids start saying over there, oh my God, this is the best hamburger I've had in my life. And I'm like, really? No, it's literally just like because you're starving. No, Mom, this is the best hamburger I've ever had in my whole life. So much so that we need to order a second hamburger. And the server comes over and we order the second hamburger. And my kid just proclaims, "This is the best hamburger I've ever had in my entire life." And I thought this waitress was looking at my kid like an alien. Like, what is even coming out of your mouth? Because that thing looks disgusting and I would never put it in my mouth. And she looks at me and I'm like, I don't know. And like we're dying later because at the time I'm just like, I don't know, get a freaking second burger. I don't care because we couldn't see how humorous it was in the minute. And now it is like the biggest joke about the best disgusting gray hamburger in the world. And honestly, my kid still to this day says, "No, Mom, that was the best." I know it was not the best, but when you're that hungry. So anyways, it's given us this hilarious story that we talk about all the time. And nothing in that event was funny that day at all. So, as silly as that story is, because I know struggles in life can be very serious. So, when you're in those places, if you can remind yourself and say, you know what, when I get out of this, I bet I'm going to have a great story to tell. And it just gives you that minute of like, oh, there's another side to this. There's a better side to this. And I'm going to learn something from this, or it's going to make a great story, or I'm going to be able to help somebody out in the future who is going to go through this horrible time too. And it really does. It stops you in the moment and you're like, yeah. And it actually, I even say it out loud because then the people around me, it kind of takes the tension down because everybody's like, yeah, you're right. You're right. This is probably going to make a good story someday. And again, it's not going to take the pain out of the moment, but it does. It's just that minute of like, oh yeah, let's change our mindset for just a second. Because honestly, even when you're going through something bad, something, there's always a little bit of good. There's always something that you can find good while you're in the middle of a struggle. Whether it's a new realization about yourself, what you want or what you don't want. And that's many times what it is, what you don't want in life. Or maybe there's things in your life that are showing up that never showed up before that you really want. Maybe they weren't important before and now they are. And that's huge. If you can find some of those new things about yourself, those realizations of like, I know I'm going through this right now. Wow, I didn't realize how much I never wanted this, but now I get it. And sometimes that's a health thing. Like I didn't realize how important it was to create some better healthy habits because this is bad and I don't ever want to go through this again, whether it's you or somebody else, right? So maybe you have some new realizations in life. And sometimes it's building that inner strength inside you. It's building something inside you by going through this that you didn't have before that's going to take you to the next level. So again, there could be something good that you just don't even realize right now. Um, and so these little hidden gifts are if you can take in the moment and just say there's a hidden little gift right now because there's always hidden gifts in adversity. If there's a little gift in this, let me see it. I want to see the little gift somewhere. And just put your focus on that for just a minute and just whenever you can. Because again, that's going to take your brain out of, oh, this is so hard. It may not change everything in the moment, it may not reverse the cycle, but it is moving your brain to be able to think of something different and be able to find the good. And so that when you get on the other side of it, you are stronger and you are better. Because the other thing is like I said, is it's probably not going to take you out of it, but that's not actually a problem. Because part of the issue is when we are in the thick of hard times, we try really hard to fix things, to escape it. And honestly, if we could have presence during that time, the power that brings us to be present during that discomfort is what's going to give you the biggest growth from the difficult times because we don't need to always label good or bad, right? And I know I said find something good. It's because we've labeled something bad. So it's the other side of the stick. But I know I've talked about this before, that stick. But what if we take the emotion out of it and just say, okay, this is data. What are we learning? What can I gain? And try and get that perspective instead of always trying to fix, 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 and escape the moment quickly. What if we move through it with intention of, okay, I'm going to make it out on the other side. I'm going to be stronger. I'm going to learn something, and I'm going to have a hell of a story at the end. That's a whole different way of moving through difficult times that is going to serve you even better in the future. Again, your future self will thank you. So, how do we shift into this new perspective? Because we need to be asking ourselves some questions so that we know that we're basically set up with some simple mindset tools for when this happens. And I need you to understand before you ask these questions that pain and possibility, they can coexist. I'm going to say that again. Pain and possibility can coexist. It's okay when you're going through pain at the moment that new beginnings can happen, that possibilities can happen. And you don't have to feel guilty about it because some of the best possibilities come out of our pain. And once you understand that, then you can start to move through it and ask yourself some better questions. So I've got a few questions here to really think about. These are the things that I would like you to think about to help yourself out when you're going through these times. So the first one is, what is this going to teach me? What is there anything I can take out of it, out of this situation, what's going on right now, that I can learn from in the future? Like I said, a health scare or even somebody else's health scare, right? That might be teaching you the lesson of good habits. Well, sorry to use the word good, but better habits when it comes to health, healthy habits, right? It might be something as simple as that. You lost a job. Well, maybe that's just a kick in the butt because you've really wanted to do something else, have a different career for so many years. And maybe that's the time you got to really kick it into gear and say, what do I want? And when am I going to start? Right? Even if I have to take a short-term job or some contracting work on the side, but I got to get this started now because I don't want to do this again. So, what can I learn from this? What can this situation teach me? Two, what story am I going to tell? I mean, start building that story right now. When you're going through that bad time, what story can I tell? Is there a story in this for somebody? Am I going to be able to spin this to make it funny, to make it a learning moment, to help somebody else with a struggle? What is that story? Is there a story I can start building? And what is one good thing about today? And that's back to, and I'm sure you've heard it a million times, that gratitude mentality, that feeling. But it's kind of a center point. It centers you and it keeps you from just sticking in that ugh of the moment, right? Is there is something good, whether you got to have some chocolate today or you woke up. I mean, if that's as good as you can get it, you take that win. And but you need to realize and be present and say, wow, that actually is a good thing. Like I'm here, right? Or this person is here. Or I get to try one more day. I get to taste chocolate one more day. I get to have a glass of wine today. Whatever it is that you can pinpoint to be like, okay, get me out of this moment because there is something, there is purpose for me being here. And this feels nice. What feels nice? And the other thing, I always like to say this because especially as a parent, when you go through little kiddom, right? Those tough times when they're little, especially if multiples. Oh, um, is this going to matter 5 years from now? Is this going to matter 10 years from now? Whatever the big picture is at the moment, whatever is so stressful. I remember having a little one and I'm like, oh my God. And it's like, you know what? In 5, 10 years from now, none of this is going to matter. Who's going to care if I have a messy house, even though I have a party and that the cake has just fallen on the ground and, all hell broke loose, whatever it is, right? Who is going to care? Am I going to care in 5 to 10 years? No, it's not going to really matter all that much, right? There are certain aspects of it that won't matter in the future, and we lose perspective of it when we are in the midst of the chaos. I also have a really great snap technique that I use. It's a four-step snap technique that I talked about in episode 8, the one where if you're feeling stuck and what to do when you don't know what to do. And that is a great one. It doesn't matter what your issue is when you're stuck and you can't get out of what you're doing, whether it's anxiety, it's just life is just you're in a pause or something like this. Go check that one out because that one always works. And worst case, the last thing, the worst case is borrow some better belief from other people. Like you are here today listening to this podcast. So do that, right? To understand and get a feeling that there's another side to this story. You don't have to live in this forever and borrow our beliefs and our energy that great things in your life are going to happen out of this. And if that's what you have to do to get through each and every day, That is what you have to do. And that is okay. So surround yourself with great stories, great people, and just remind yourself this is not forever. So, what story am I going to tell out of it? What am I going to teach? What am I going to laugh about? Because you've got this. You're going to get through it. I know you will. I know you will. You got this. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. If this episode spoke to you in any way, just remember to hit that follow button and tag me on social with your biggest takeaway. If you'd like more information on how to incorporate these tips into your Ultimate 180 experience, grab my free workbook and join my VIP group at ultimate180.com. And let's discover what's ultimately possible for you. You can catch all my episodes there on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your shows.